What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DJP1 here with the final stance. It's been a while since I've done a episode for y'all, so just kind of bear with me here, and we're gonna talk about a few things here. We got March Madness going on right now. We've got the NFL draft getting ready to start here. Was it? It's either I think it's at the end of the month, maybe. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. We got Wrestlemania coming up here soon. That's in 2 weeks. So I just want to touch on some things here with you guys. So let's get started. So first thing I want to talk about here is J.J. McCarthy, the Michigan quarterback, the national champion quarterback from the University of Michigan. Go Blue. For anybody that knows me, knows I am a very big Michigan fan and will always be a big Michigan guy. So one thing that I seen today, Colin Cowherd actually kind of hinted on it. He brought up Bucky Brooks and the quarterback comparisons that he does every year for the quarterbacks that are getting drafted. And there's 3 comparisons for each of the quarterbacks that he does. And the one that stuck out for me was comparing J.J. McCarthy to a younger, cheaper, more mobile version of Kirk Cousins, and also comparing him to Alex Smith. And it's funny that he mentioned Alex Smith, considering before the Vikings signed Kirk Cousins, we were rumored to be signing Alex Smith, but he ended up signing with the then Washington Redskins, which is now the Commanders now. So that's why we ended up with Kirk Cousins. So I think it's funny that A, he mentioned Kirk Cousins. B, he mentioned the quarterback that we were supposed to get before Kirk Cousins. And C, he mentioned the quarterback that the Vikings have been linked to the most going into this draft. I don't see being compared to Alex Smith as a bad thing. I think Alex Smith is a hell of a man to come back from what he came back from. If anyone that doesn't know the injury that he suffered, go look it up. It is one of the most gruesome, brutal football injuries I've ever seen in my life. But the fact that that man came back from that is nothing short of phenomenal and amazing. He's very underrated as a player. I think he gets a bad rap because of the not winning a Super Bowl, and I feel like a lot of people just kind of give him the short end of the stick as far as being a quarterback. So I think comparing J.J. McCarthy to him as a game manager like Alex Smith is, I think is a very good comparison. My issue with drafting him is that they're talking about the Vikings using the second first round pick that we have. I don't know what people are going to be looking at, but we'll see. I was also watching. It was Skip Bayless and was it Michael Irvin? I think. No, sorry, it was Keyshawn Johnson. I was watching Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson, and they were talking. Sorry, excuse me. They were talking about Brock Bowers and about how he's undersized compared to some of the other tight end prospects and even some of the tight ends in the NFL. And they showed a photo of him standing next to Rob Gronkowski. And He's quite smaller than Gronk. I think it's kind of an unfair comparison because Gronk is a freak athlete anyway. So he's pretty big anyway. Like, you can stand him next to linebackers and he'd make some of them look a little small. So I feel like that's kind of a bad comparison to put him next to Gronk. But I honest to God think that Brock Bowers is going to be a freak in the NFL. I think whatever team takes the chance on Brock Bowers will not regret it. I'm hoping he falls to the Colts because the Colts desperately need a tight end. No disrespect to the tight ends that they have, but I think Brock Bowers is a once-in-a-lifetime type tight end talent of, like what you would find with a Travis Kelce, or comparing him like with Rob Gronkowski or TJ Hawkinson or George Kittle or Sam Laporte and Mark Andrews. I think he could be at that level, because if you go and look at what he did in college at Georgia, that dude was pretty much their offense. Like, they pretty much ran everything through Brock Bowers. He was blocking, he was running, he was catching passes. Any time their offense was in trouble and needed bailed out, who they go to? They went to Brock Bowers. And you do that with your talent that you have. And it's not a bad thing to do. And I think with him being how he was, playing where he played, coming from the SEC and playing at Georgia and having to go against teams like Florida and Alabama and Auburn and all these other SEC schools that have caliber NFL talent, and it's been proven year after year after year, because so many players come from the SEC and Alabama and Georgia and Florida State and all these amazing colleges that they have down south. And the fact that he was able to play how he played year after year at Georgia against these NFL caliber players says nothing but good things for him. And I think whatever team drafts Brock Bowers is going to be getting one major athlete and one awesome tight end for the future to come. Now, speaking of athletes and futures, this brings me over to Caleb Williams, quarterback from USC that is rumored to be going number 1 to the Chicago Bears. Me as a Vikings fan, I'm not really a Bears fan, because obviously being a Vikings fan, but one of my best friends is a Bears fan, has been all that I've known him, and we've had discussions about Bears quarterbacks and how they always seem to fumble the ball when it comes to drafting the right one. So Blaine, if you're listening, this goes to you, and this goes to Chicago Bears Nation. In my opinion, now I'm just some Joe Schmo with a podcast that pretty much nobody listens to, talking about Caleb Williams here. If I was the Chicago Bears, I would stay completely away from this dude. I seen earlier online, I was reading stuff, and was it the corner, I forget his first name, but his last name is Johnson, that they have for the Bears, was basically telling him not to bring his Hollywood shit into the building in Chicago because he has to earn everything. I think Caleb Williams' attitude and the fact that he comes with daddy baggage, like his dad talking about how he wants ownership stake in the team that drafts him, I think the Bears need to stay away, but they're not going to, because they traded Justin Fields, which I think was a massive mistake. you can't expect a guy to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. And you can't put a Band-Aid on it by trading for DJ Moore and expect him to be like, oh my God, my prayers are answered. I got one receiver. No, you can't. The fact that they bring in Keenan Allen and all this other crap that they brought in for Caleb Williams and didn't do that for Justin Fields pisses me off. As a Vikings fan that needs a quarterback, I would have taken Justin Fields in a heartbeat. Pairing him with Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, now Aaron Jones, I think would have been an amazing team. But he went to the Steelers, and I think the Steelers got one hell of a deal on trading for Justin Fields. But the Bears need to stay away from Caleb Williams. I think they need to go after Jaden Daniels. I don't think Caleb Williams is your answer. And if anything, go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then take your other pick at 9 and go get J.J. McCarthy or go get Bo Nix or Michael Penix. Like, don't freaking waste your time on Caleb Williams because he's not going to be any good. The most that you will get out of Caleb Williams, and this goes back to earlier when I was talking about Bucky Brooks doing comparisons about NFL players and rookie quarterbacks. I see nothing more than Kyler Murray out of this dude. He may have all the talent in the world, so does Kyler Murray, but he has a shit attitude, and nobody wants to play with him. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with the Bears. Here in about 2 years, 3 years, everybody's going to get fed up with Caleb Williams, just like they did with Kyler Murray, and they're going to want to get rid of him, and nobody's going to want him. But that's just my pick on Caleb Williams. I've not liked what I've heard, not what I've seen. I have liked what I've seen, but I do not like what I've heard. Because in my opinion, attitude means everything. Go look at Jay Cutler. That man had all the talent in the world and had an arm that was a gift from God. But he had an attitude that was shit. So that's what I see when I see Caleb Williams. I see a bigger crybaby version of Kyler Murray. But that's just how I see it. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really pay too much attention to this man, just because of where he went to school, and he went to North Carolina, and I don't really. Ever since Trubisky, I've kind of stayed away from North Carolina quarterbacks. I don't think that he's gonna be as good as what people think. And that's Drake May. I don't see the hype on Drake May. I don't get it. They keep comparing him to Justin Herbert, and I'm not sold on Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert is a bum. He is the sole most overhyped quarterback in the NFL. The man was given Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He had Austin Eckler and couldn't win jack shit to save his life. Justin Herbert is so overhyped, overrated, and I don't think Drake May is going to be anything. I was watching Colin Cowherd talk about it's all about where they end up. And he's right. It is where they end up. And I see Drake May ending up in New England. Oh, sorry about that. I see him ending up in New England because I see the Commanders taking Jane Daniels or Caleb Williams, depending on what the Bears do. But they've pretty much guaranteed it's going to be Caleb Williams, number one. So we'll see what goes on with that. I think Drake May is going to end up in New England, and it's going to be the Mac Jones situation all over again. They're going to get a guy that can't play. I have not seen anything from Drake May that makes me think, oh man, this guy's going to be a special NFL player. No, I don't see it at all. I don't see him being anything special. I really don't. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong a lot. I'm the guy that was preaching that Tim Tebow was going to be the savior the Broncos needed. Or I was also the guy that was like, oh, man, Johnny Manziel is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Nah, I was way wrong on that. So, but I have been right a lot about certain guys and wrong about others. Like, I was right about Bryce Young. Bryce Young ain't shit. I was right about CJ Stroud. I was right about Trevor Lawrence. I was damn right about Joe Burrow. But we'll see what happens. I was going to talk about the Vikings trading up. I've already kind of hinted on that a little bit, so we're going to get away from that. We're actually going to switch gears a little bit here. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, WrestleMania is 2 weeks. I'm excited. It's my favorite event of the year. Anybody that watches wrestling knows how important WrestleMania is every year. I am super stoked about this card that we have coming up. It's going to be amazing from start to bottom. It's 2 nights, which is awesome. I love the fact that WWE is doing WrestleMania 2 nights. I think it should always be that way. I mean, you can never have too much of WrestleMania, in my opinion. So it's going to be WrestleMania 40 in Philly. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. The big question regarding WrestleMania is if Cody Rhodes is going to finish the story and beat Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal title. And I definitely hope he does. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I've read so many different stories about what they're going to do with the championship and Roman, and if he's going to beat Hogan's record, and the fact that he's at 1,300 days already. Okay, I'm going to tell you something right here, right now, for the 5 people that probably listen to this thing. I think it's complete and utter horse shit that Gunther has been Intercontinental Champion for almost 700 days. So about half the time Roman has been champion and has defended his championship over 3 times as many times as Roman has defended his. Like, come on, man. I don't know. I wouldn't be upset with Roman having the championship as much as he has if he defended it more. I don't think that having him defend it as little as he has brings anything to it. Because I can guarantee you, back in the day when Hulk Hogan was champion, he definitely defended the title a lot more than 32 days, 32 times that Roman has, and the 1,300 freaking days as champion. Like, I don't know. It's whatever. But I hope Cody Rhodes wins. I think it'd be nice to have a champion there that's there all the time, especially a Rhodes. So now that I'm on the subject of Cody Rhodes and finishing the story and WrestleMania, I think something has happened that a lot of people are undervaluating and overlooking right now. Does anyone remember back when Cody was in AEW and he had the Nightmare Family, and you had his dog and his wife, and he had Diamond Dallas Page, which DDP, if you're out there, You the Man. He had a guy that goes by the name of Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. I said this to Dwayne a while ago, and he said I was crazy. I don't think I'm crazy now. Because if you go and look, and I read this last night, and I was like, yup, I fucking knew it. If you go and look, AEW has removed MJF from their active roster, and they no longer sell his merchandise. So what does that tell you? That tells me one thing, and I said this a while ago to Dwayne, again, was told I was crazy. My thing is, you have Roman Reigns, you have The Rock, you have the Bloodline. Cody Rhodes has Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. Okay, so I can see Jey Uso being at Cody's side. I don't see Seth being there because, one, Seth has a match with Drew McIntyre on night 2 when Roman and Cody are going against each other for the championship. I feel that The Rock and Roman are going to win night 1, so it's going to be Bloodline rules. So then you're going to have the Bloodline there. You're going to have Roman, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. I could see possibly another member of the Bloodline being introduced, like maybe a Jacob Fatu, maybe. There's other members of the Bloodline that are out there that we just don't have, and I'm praying Jacob Fatu makes his debut because that dude is a special talent. So to counter Jimmy Uso, you'll have Jey Uso backing up Cody. And I think Cody will have some other help. And I think one of the help that Cody's going to have is going to be a debuting Maxwell Jacob Friedman at WrestleMania. And I feel like he's going to come out as part of the American Nightmare family to back Cody Rhodes. And he's going to be with Dustin Rhodes as well. Because Dustin Rhodes put a video out saying fuck The Rock. So I could definitely see Dustin Rhodes coming out, Jey Uso coming out, and MJF coming out to help Cody Rhodes. And I almost guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And I will be sitting there night 2 on my couch next to my beautiful wife watching WrestleMania, wearing my MJF I'm Better Than You t-shirt, praying that he makes his debut. Because I would love a Triple H ran WWE with MJF in the background as one of the forefronts going forward. To have a feud, and this is my ultimate feud right here for him. Everybody talks about how it'd be cool to have The Miz and MJF, and it'd be cool. I would much rather have LA Knight versus MJF. That would be amazing. That is what I'm hoping for. We'll see if I'm right. I pray that I am. But also, one thing while we're on the subject of WWE, has anyone purchased the WWE 2K24 game? If you have, please let me know what you think. I got it for my Xbox, and I love it. I think it's the best game WWE's made since probably SmackDown vs. Raw 08. That was a good game too. That's probably the last really, really good one in my opinion. Maybe WWE 13. But WWE 2K24 is really, really fun. The GM mode is great. I am running ECW, which is a lot of fun, and going head to head against WCW. So, like, I'm Paul Heyman in ECW going up against Eric Bischoff in WCW. A lot of fun. The gameplay is real smooth, and It's really fun to play. They got a bunch of different matches. The My Rising is really, really fun. I'm doing a they got one, I think it's called Undisputed, I think is the one that I'm doing. And I'm now the WWE World, or the Undisputed Universal Champion, which is a lot of fun. So that's really cool. The create your entrance and all that stuff, it's a lot of fun. They've really, really captured what WWE and wrestling games used to be back in the day. So I'm really digging it. So if you haven't got it and you've been kind of wondering about it and contemplating, I highly, highly recommend it. If you can afford it, definitely go out and get it. If you like wrestling games, you definitely would not be disappointed with this one. I played all the old ones, all the SmackDowns for PlayStation 2 and all the good ones for N64, a couple on the Xbox 360, and I've played the worst one imaginable, and that was WWE 2K20. That game was hot garbage. But this one is definitely not. This one is a lot of fun. So if you've been thinking about it, I would definitely pull the trigger. I didn't really think about it too much. I read some reviews on it, and I went and purchased it, and I haven't regretted it. So I highly recommend it. If I was to rate it out of 10, I would give it probably a solid 9. Solid 9, maybe 9.5. It's really good. So I just talked about something that's really good. Let's talk about something that's not so good, and that's AEW. Back when they first debuted and came out, I was probably the biggest AEW mark that I knew. I was all in, so to speak. I was all about AEW. I was screw WWE at that time. I was all for this new company and what they were doing and bringing in, new guys I had never seen before, like a Darby Allin, and I'd never really seen the Young Bucks. I seen one match with Kenny Omega, and that was obviously the one that he had with Chris Jericho in Japan. That match was killer. Probably the one of, if not the best wrestling match I've ever seen in my life. So like I had knew a little bit of him, but not a lot. I had never heard of MJF and Hangman Adam Page and some of these guys that the AEW brought in, and then legacy guys that I had never seen before, like Jack Perry and Brian Pillman Jr., who now wrestles in WWE as Lexus King. So like it was really cool to see that. I was all for it, and now I can't freaking stand it. I cannot stand AEW. I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're bringing in Ring of Honor. It's taken away from like what AEW's doing. They have way too many shows. Like, how many shows do you need a week? They have way too much going on. Their booking is horrible. They pretty much just book almost nothing but tag matches. You got, I don't know, so many groups that make no sense. The rivalries don't make any sense. They don't last long. Their title reigns are pretty much pointless. They don't push the right people at the right time. I can't get into it anymore. They bring in so many people and they do nothing with them. They waste money like it's, going out of style. Like, I wish I could get WWE to sign me to a contract and then fire me just so AEW can hire me, pay me a crap ton of money, and do nothing with me. Because that's exactly what they do with all these ex-WWE guys. Like, Look at Mark Henry. What have they done with Mark Henry? Nothing. The Big Show. What have they done with the Big Show? Nothing. When they signed Andrade, what did they do with Andrade? They did a little bit with him at the beginning, and then they just, poof, done. Didn't do anything with him. So he hightailed it back to WWE. They weren't doing shit with Brian Pillman Jr. So what'd he do? He dipped. Like, they're going to end up losing so many people. Hell, they lost Jade Cargill. I didn't know that she was ever going to leave, but she sure did. So what makes people think MJF's not going to dip the hell out? Cody Rhodes helped start the damn company, and he left. So, like, what does that tell you? And they bring in old people and give them, like, airtime, like Jeff Jarrett. I'm sorry, no one's wanted to see Jeff Jarrett for 10 years. Like, I used to be a huge Jeff Jarrett fan. Like, back when he was in WCW and was the chosen one and was the world champ. Oh, man. Big Jeff Jarrett guy. In TNA, I was a Jeff Jarrett guy. Not anymore. He's like 50-something years old. No one wants to see Jeff Jarrett wrestle anymore. And for the love of God, stop breaking guitars. Like, no one cares, dude. And they bring in Edge. And I was like, oh, man, they brought in Edge. Like, that's huge. Huge signing. Bring in Adam freaking Copeland. And what have they done? They've put him in a rivalry against Christian. Why? What the hell for? And no one wants to see Christian wrestle either. Sorry, Drew, but it's true. No one wants to see Christian. No one cares about Christian. I don't think anyone, apart from him being with Edge, I don't think anyone ever gave a fuck about Christian. I think this is a waste. You're bringing in one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time. One of the greatest heels that WWE ever had. Who had amazing rivalries with Randy Orton and John Cena and The Undertaker and Batista. And had so many great matches. And you're doing jack shit with him. You're putting him... You gave him the TNT title. Big freaking whoop. He beat Christian. Cool. That was awesome 20 years ago. No one cares. You want to put asses in the seats and get people to watch? Give us one more ladder match with the freaking Hardy Boys. Like, give us something like that. Give us Matt and Jeff Hardy against Edge and Christian. But nah. You want to give us Edge versus Christian. Big freaking deal, dude. No one cares. AEW, you got to do better. You've got to do better. It's not like you don't have the talent. They have the roster. Do better. Speaking of the roster and doing better, Miss Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, finally made her AEW debut, and to the chagrin of a half-ass reaction from the crowd. Like, her initial reaction when she came out was awesome. They were like, hell yeah, she's back. And then she started speaking and gave a subpar at best promo. At best. She is not there anymore. That woman that was Sasha Banks that was tearing it up and having these awesome matches and cutting good promos, she ain't there anymore. She's a money grubbing freeloader. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I don't care who they put her with. She's not going to draw money. She's not. She's the worst part of the Four Horsewomen. When you go back and look at the legacy of the Four Horsewomen, you have Charlotte Flair, you have Becky Lynch, you have Bayley, and you have Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks, her legacy in WWE will be of a quitter who got tired of being a tag team champion and left. And even before she left, she was the one that was always hurt. She was the one that was always given subpar matches. And if I'm not mistaken, she's the one that put Paige on the shelf for a few years because of her neck issue. So I was a big fan of hers back in the day. But after the last few years, I've soured on her really well. And I don't think bringing her into AEW is going to do anything for their women's division. And matter of fact, I think it's going to do nothing but hurt it. Because the women's division's the one thing AEW has been doing right, in my opinion. They have really talented women wrestlers over there. And I think bringing, I'm not going to call her Mercedes, I'm bringing Sasha Banks in is just, it's horrible. I think that was a bad signing on AEW's part. But speaking of signings and good and bad, I read yesterday, and this is completely off subject, but I'm excited for this, that Adam Sandler is working on Happy Gilmore 2. Now, him and, is it Chris McDonough, I think's the guy's name, that played Shooter McGavin? They're working on a script for Happy Gilmore 2. And I could not be more excited for that. Happy Gilmore was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. So I'm definitely excited for that. Sorry, I keep yawning. That damn cat. He likes to play at night when I'm trying to sleep. So the lights go out, my CPAP mask goes on. He thinks it's time to play. And he definitely does a lot of that during the night. So I've been getting pretty interrupted, and he likes to run up me and look out the window. So the way, because of my size and stuff, I have to sleep in a chair. So like I have my feet on an ottoman, and he'll run up the ottoman, run up my belly, jump off my shoulders onto the back of the chair, and he'll paw the window open and just look out the window. Which, you know, is fine at, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when it's, completely dark outside. But when it's like 7 o'clock in the morning and he's got the sun shining in my face, that kind of bothers me a little bit. But, what can you do? He curls up with you, purrs on you, and you're like, okay, you're so cute. I can't be mad at you. So he's definitely got me wrapped. But yeah, so speaking of got me wrapped, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I was going to talk about the March Madness tournament, but everybody's bracket is completely broken, so there's really not much to talk about that. And plus, I don't really follow it that much anymore. I know Michigan State's going to get their ass kicked today against North Carolina because, one, they're a lot better than we are, and two, it's North Carolina. They seem to always kick my team's ass, so we'll see what comes of that. I'm probably going to play some WWE 2K24, or might play MLB The Show. That came out this week. You can create a girl on the Superstar mode that they have. I forget the name of it. But Road to the Show, there it is. Wow. Couldn't think of that to save my life. But yeah, so I created a girl on there. I'm gonna play as a girl and see how that goes. So I'm excited to do that. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. So yeah, if you got anything you want to talk about, anything that's on your mind, or you want to talk about what I talked about, hit me up on here. Hit me up on Facebook, on Instagram. Be the Final Stance Podcast on both of those. I'll also be posting this on Spotify and other places that you can pretty much get your music, iHeart, Apple, pretty much anywhere that you can get a podcast. I'm there. Google. As my dad would say, I'm on the Google, which I miss my dad. We named the cat after my dad. My dad had a nickname. His nickname was Kermit, and he got that name. Some guy that he used to work with at the factory he worked at said he looked like Kermit the Frog, and he just kept calling him Kermit, and it stuck with him to the point where like they had their names sewn on their uniforms, and my dad said Kermit on it, so it was really cool. So the fact that we found the cat at my dad's house when we were cleaning it out, I felt it was prudent to call him Kermit. So that was it. I'm gonna wrap this up and get off here. It's your boy DJP1, and this has been my Final Stance.